Jason Blaha here, just getting my morning cardio done. And yeah, let's get up nice and early. So I woke up starving. This is a problem I'm running into also while trying to cut. I had everything dialed in perfect yesterday. Calories are good. I woke up starving, like after I passed out early in the night and jumped up and mixed a bunch of raw eggs with Greek yogurt and ate that. And I'm like, man, that probably put my calories higher than I want. Like, yes, I did that. That was really weird. So again, keeping in mind, this is why I can only have pretty much clean food in my house, because that sort of thing will happen. So, I mean, that was probably, I passed out early. That happened about 7 o'clock. I've been asleep about 30 minutes, but it was like, you know, it wasn't a huge amount of calories by any means, but I know that sounds gross as hell to people, but it's what I had available. Again, this is also why I tell people with certain binge eating issues and other stuff, you cannot have junk food in your house ever, right? Can't have it. So yeah, I ate about 4 raw eggs and half a container of Greek yogurt and just mixed them up with a spoon. So, but again, that's an interesting thing because it's like you look at that and you go, did we really do any real damage with that? I don't think so. It was all crazy high protein. It did make me wake up a little heavier this morning though. But we're gonna get up and say, okay, so did that, let's just add a little extra cardio and keep the diet tighter. I think I need to definitely up my potatoes in terms of my rice though. Potatoes have a great satiety index. I'm gonna get off the street there. Somebody coming in at this time of morning into the neighborhood is possibly intoxicated. So let's get over and get this done. But yeah, so stuff like that happens to me even though I had probably 60 grams of fiber, you know. But I do feel like definitely hammering potatoes and eggs a little harder probably really help with just appetite. Lucas, hey Jason, would you rather have bicep? All right, first one of those in here. All right, you guys know the rule, we just don't put up with nonsense. Anyone who caught that already is probably laughing. Coach don't play around. Get those likes up, by the way, though, guys. See, that guy could have hit a like instead of his nonsense. You know, I would rather have your mom grow. All right, next. I should actually just entertain those more. I don't know. Because the guy wrote, Jason, would you rather have your biceps grow or have your knee grow? That's what he wrote. Like, honestly. I'm sure that he feels very accomplished. All right. But hopefully we get some good peeps in here and we get a good chat and we get a nice, solid, reasonable walk. So, yep. But yeah, so I'm up super early. I wanted to be out the door 10 minutes sooner because I've been kind of got my start around 3:30. It's up on the floor around 3:20, you know. I'm like, let's get up early and let's just start working. Plenty of social media posts done. Got videos up, right? And we're just in our flow. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some regulars in here. That'll get us some lively conversation and good questions. I mean, a Sunday can be a really good day for questions. Tend to get decent supers and stuff. Those have been hit or miss. I've had some really good super days last week, and then this weekend's been rather empty. But, you know, at least we get more engagements usually in here this early than on Facebook. You know, assuming it's going into people's feeds, people might not even be expecting me this early. I think that's the issue. I think that's the issue with regulars. Except that one guy, he was in here immediately with that question. So that guy's been waiting. And he went through all that trouble to make that account just to ask me that question. And notice how quick he was in here. It's like, wow. What are you gonna do? Ooh, it is early. It's really early, isn't it? It really is. Oh no. So again, good morning, bro. Yep. It's 4:20 in the morning. We're out pounding the pavement already. So how you doing, Sagnick? Got any fitness related questions? All right. Any fitness topics? I don't know that I have any topics ready in my head. Yeah, 2:50 p.m. here. Yeah. Well, gotcha. So you got any training or nutrition questions, bro? Anything going on? A moth. Sort of bug just flew and landed on my back. Oh man. You didn't hit like either, by the way. Sagnick, you're commenting, but you didn't hit the like button. I don't have any likes yet. So let's get on top of that. Is there much down this street? I never go down this street. I didn't even think and realize this street is here. All this time walking. John says, what do you think about Eric Konevsky quitting his main channel? A number of things that I don't think about in my life would be Eric Konevsky. Like, I literally have no thoughts at all whatsoever on Eric Konevsky's channel or anything that clown does. He's not even someone I think about, really. I don't even know he has 2 channels. So there's your answer. I don't know which channel is his main one or which is, he has more than one. He does, I have no clue. Man, you know more than I do about it. All right. Gunbro, thanks for the heads up. Oh, it's people's dogs. Yeah, people's dogs barking. They're like, who's this strange person walking through our street? This is nicer. There's no sidewalk, so that's why I don't ever come this way. I have to walk in the street on this street. There's no sidewalks, guys. Look, no sidewalks. It's just streets. All right. How are you enjoying waking up so early? I've always kind of woke up early. I'm a morning person. Do you still get enough sleep for optimal muscle growth? Yeah. I go to bed super early. It's not complicated. Like, that's a strange question. Why would you think that the time a person wakes up determines their sleep? You should, I mean, default assumption I would assume is you would assume they go to bed earlier. right? I mean, I'm 48, dude. You know, I'm not sleeping 5 hours a night and getting up and actually working out. I wouldn't even be able to lift weights. At my age, if I only slept 4 or 5 hours a night, I wouldn't even be able to lift half the weights I lift. Use some common sense. Like, you know, I'm probably in bed by 7, 8 o'clock. Out, you know, if I'm up this early. Oh, Lord. All right. Oh, yeah, this is really the nicer area. These are all the 2 and 3 story houses. There's no sidewalks through here. I guess this is because they don't want as many pedestrians coming through the really nicer part of the neighborhood. No, I mean, I'm a morning person anyways. Very much a morning person. Why does it feel hot out here this morning? Could be that protein I had last night. Creating that thermic effect now. Not being me in my question, I'm just saying you should think that through. Maybe you don't know that. Maybe you're really young and you're not aware. And so that could be my fault. You could be 20 years old and have no idea. No, dude, sleep at my age is essential, right? Like, not even just to lift weights, but to function. Benjamin, keeping protein and carbs high and fat low is the way to go. I mean, or only healthy fats. I mean, really your concern with a lot of that is going to be, 1, calorie density, 2, you know, the other end of that thing. All the people who push the saturated fat forget that it makes insulin sensitivity worse pretty consistently. Jason, hi from the UK. Just want to get to 180 pounds. What amount of calories? What? Are you? Why would you think I'm eating 2,500, man? Dude, I can't even imagine how hungry I would be on 2,500 calories, man. God, 3,000 is so hard for me to hit. I don't see how you guys eat 3,000 calories only year round. Like, you guys got to be eating 10 pounds of broccoli a day. All right. How long of a walk for the morning? I don't know, as long as I feel like. Ideally, I'd like it really long. No, dude, I lost the first 17 pounds on this cut, staying over 3,000 calories. I mean, keep in mind, I normally eat like 4,000 calories year round. Ballpark. I'm really struggling. The reason also I'm having trouble with it going down, I'm really struggling with 3,000. Like, it's really, really difficult for me. Like, the hunger I get in the evening is ludicrous. All right. Even with the fasted window sometimes. Like, so I'm only doing about a 4-hour fasting or eating window every afternoon. I may need to push some of that a little further back some days, just so that I go to bed feeling full, you know, with 3,000 calories in me. And I'm eating like probably 2 pounds of just green vegetables with it too. Yeah, man. What are your thoughts? I think that's a weirdo, and I think that you're a weird freak for asking it. It's the weirdest, freakiest, something wrong with you people theory. How's that? Like, if you guys did basic research on biology, you would realize it's just a weird fetish you guys have come up with. I don't know. Semen retention. Dude, you guys seriously know you need mental help. Like, if you have come to some conclusion that this is a benefit to you, you should go talk to a therapist. All right. If one of your... Yeah, that's too long. Hey, Benjamin, love you guys, but dude, when I'm trying to walk brisk, I'm not reading a page, man. Hey, hold on, let me take my glasses off and put my face in. If one is not looking to maximize gains, YouTube is horrible. I hate the YouTube interface. That's why I do mostly Facebook. It's just that I can't get any viewers this early in the morning on Facebook. Like, you can't read the questions, all right, if it's a lot of letters. What does one take to keep volume relatively low and focus on more cardio for health? What we're gonna, oh, shit, let me start that over. Dude, I can't read that thing. It's so weird with the exact lighting. I can't read the actual sentence when it's that long. Because I'm walking too fast, so the phone's moving. If one is not looking to maximize gains, does it make sense to keep volume relatively low and focus more on cardio health and to keep lean? I mean, we could make a case that you can make phenomenal gains on relatively low volume, but I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me. You're being too vague. You know? But I mean, sure, I mean, hypothetically, you could keep volume pretty moderated. I mean, my volumes are fairly moderated, I think. You know? But keep in mind, lifting weights improves health also. So, but I mean, when people say that your idea of low volume might be different than my idea of low volume, so you see the point? Like, give me at least some context for what we're asking. Morning, Jason. Do you stream? I don't never steamed vegetables in my life, to be honest. So, no, I throw them in the Instapot, or I just do them raw. I mean, Steve, look at the food pictures. I mean, it's not like I don't post all my meals every day. You know, I mean, you see the pictures every day, right? So, so it depends on the individual vegetable. So look at each dish. Obviously, the frozen broccoli and potatoes and stuff tend to be cooked into the rice in the Instapot. And the other vegetables are clearly raw. So things like spinach, peppers, and whatever, I just dice up and put it on the food, under the food, and so on. So Benjamin says 6 sets. Yeah, that's reasonable, dude. I don't know that 6 sets is super low. You know, no, I think that's perfectly reasonable. And you may not be maximizing gains, but you'd still make, 80, 90%. Somewhere, possibly. You need a combination of weight training and cardio to live a long life. With a good diet, chicken, fish, rice, vegetables, fruits is the way to go, yeah. I mean, you could add some other healthy fats. Like so when we talk about doing stuff sometimes with really low fat, we're only talking body composition, not necessarily health, by the way. Healthy fats have enormous health benefits. So, I mean, I would include, healthy fats in there. The main thing is just avoiding refined foods for the most part. Which is, Simon, that's strange to me. I get people who, they think it's weird somehow that I don't eat refined stuff. And they're like, well, I mean, you have a little bit, right? And it's like, what are you talking about? Just eat whole foods. Like, it's to me, it's not even a difficult concept. Like, to me, it's normal to say there's no refined sugar in my house. Like, zero. I don't buy it. I don't buy things with it. If there's refined sugar in my house, it's because someone else brought it in. Like, that's easy. That's so simple. And then the same thing, people are like, well, what about in the ingredients? Well, why are you buying stuff like that? Some good solid morning cardio, yep. So kind of my response is, what do you mean why are you buying foods with ingredients? What do you mean read the label? Why are you buying foods that you need to read the label? I get it. You got to be careful to not grab the wrong container of Greek yogurt. Okay. You could accidentally grab the one with some sugar added if you don't check and know your brands. But barring something like that, how is this stuff slipping in? Are you buying food in boxes? What label? The label says rice. The label says oats. The label says chicken. Like, what are you guys talking about? Read the label. What sort of garbage are you eating? You know, and that would be my response to people. Like, do you people not grasp what eating whole foods means? I guess to me it's so strange that people can't get their head around this. I mean, they're literally talking about reading ingredient lists. It's like, why? I mean, I get you might need to double check that they didn't add something else to your oats. You know, but generally speaking, barring stuff like your yogurts and things, your food should have one ingredient. There, you know, or your sauces, I get it. Like I buy my guacamole sauce and my salsas. You know, I'm not buying more expensive yogurt just to get extra fat. So skyr yogurt costs twice as much, and there's fat in it. So why would I buy that? I'm going to pay twice as much money to have additional saturated fat. That doesn't even make sense. That stuff's like overpriced, probably because they import it. You know, what's wrong with normal Greek? What's wrong with my Greek yogurt? So, you know, I mean, see how that works? We don't have to go try these new imported Icelandic foods and stuff, you know. Dude, come on. That's like when you guys in Europe asked me that. I'm like, hey, man, have you tried some Texas beef? Have you tried added Texas Angus steak to your diet? And they're like, dude, I'm not buying steak from Texas. You see what I mean? Are you currently doing leg extensions? Hey, Benjamin, I put my training up every day. What quad exercises do I do right now? You're in these streams enough that I know you see my training vlogs. Come on now. I isolate one muscle. And I'll give you a hint. It starts with a B and it ends with a sept. All right. Oh, I don't want you. Okay. So I'll tell you the 3 leg exercises I do. You ready? Back squats. Right? Conventional deadlifts. Okay. You ready? And I push a sled. That's my current leg exercises. So, and I still have jacked quads. All right. Love the sled pushes. Awesome, man. That's quite a last name you got there. Thank you. Oh, no worries. It's all good, Benjamin. No, right now, Benjamin, I basically live on 6 basic exercises. I mean, sometimes I throw some other stuff in. Sometimes I'll do some incline curls or some ladder or, you know, incline bench or something. But pretty much my main exercises outside of the conditioning and cardio, I push a sled quite a bit though. On most days, like 5 days a week, I push a sled. But that's enormous muscle building, right? So, but in my actual lifting, I do the squat, bench, and deadlift, right? I do weighted dips, weighted pull-ups, and I do curls. Mostly focusing on just barbell curls. All right. Get rid of that nonsense. There is something fundamentally wrong with anyone who takes a person who is very outspoken advocate for getting abuse survivors under a barbell so that they can get strong enough to testify, because that's what I did, by the way. And I'm going to say this calmly, of course. Like, I am a survivor of that type of abuse, and I used getting under a barbell and getting strong to press charges against my abusers as an adult later. And I'm a very, very vocal advocate for this. So when people say ridiculous stuff like that, they need to put in context what they are doing. All right. I think that person's projecting, and they should probably be on the watch list as a potential child predator themselves. Just saying, I think YouTube should track them down, send their stuff, and make sure that someone watches them. All right, next. How's that? But yeah, no, sleds can be humbling. Sleds build legs really effectively too. You know. Yep. Yeah. I mean, as AI improves, I think AI will get really good, and as people just sound scary at picking out behavior like that, and then watching those people to know that they may be abusers of certain types. All right, so anyone who comes on the internet and makes pedo jokes is very, very possibly a pedophile. Like, people who aren't or don't have those tendencies don't make jokes about stuff like that. All right. So, and people can say, oh, it's just the internet. No. Mm-mm. No, there's a motivation for them doing that, even anonymously. So, yeah. No need to entertain those people. Yeah, no, I just abandon him and move on. Let's get back, stay on fitness topics. I apologize. I went on a non-fitness topic, which is something I promised my audience I would not do. So to the 10 people watching, I owe you guys an apology for that. I went on a non-fitness topic and broke my word to my audience. So I give you guys a quick apology and let's move on. All right. I just felt like in that case it was warranted. All right. But his cardio's in full swing. Breathing is good, heart rate's up. Burning through some calories. Views and likes slowly trickling up. We're getting like none of the regulars. None of my regulars in the UK are in here yet. My UK morning crowd has not seen it yet. We don't answer non-fitness questions here. Next. A better question would have been, could God make a weight that's too heavy for him to deadlift? Okay, see, that's the appropriate question for this channel if you wanted to entertain that type of question. So I'm going to help you out. You start using the line, we full natty, brah. We YouTube natty. Why would you think any fitness influencer is natural? You're dumber than a box of rocks. But no, I mean, you have to be a stupid motherfucker to think anybody in YouTube fitness is natural. You have to be dumb as fuck. But, like, literally dumb as fuck. Like, barely able to tie your shoes dumb. But, that being said, I am in the normal testosterone range. All right, next. Your mom looks natural. All right. I'm walking around with a 27 fat-free mass index. You look natural. You know my height and weight. You guys are hilarious. No, but I am just on a replacement dose. Thanks for representing. Nice. No, I'm on actual TRT at the moment. No, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. My fat-free mass index, you will not obtain it natural. Sorry, that's just reality. Um, you know. All right. So yeah, it's very clear a lot of the people who come online have not been around much gear. They don't actually seem to know what the average gear user looks like in general. You guys see way too much mega dosing on the internet, too many filters, magic lighting, Photoshop. Um, Again, mega doses. People are they're oblivious. Like in the current internet climate, anyone on less than 2 grams a week of steroids and who doesn't throw in growth and insulin can claim natural. And everybody will be like, yeah, that's obtainable natural. They could be on a gram. And in the minds of the average person, oh, that's totally obtainable natural in 3 years. You know, yeah. So if you guys want to understand what actual genetically gifted hard training naturals look like, go back to the 50s. So Steve Reeves, when he won the Mr. Universe, that's pretty much peak natty, right? So go to Steve Reeves for the late 50s when he was winning the Mr. Universe. That's pretty much peak natty, right? Morning, Jason. I hit like. What's up, Carol? Appreciate it, man. My regulars are coming in. I mean, I laugh. I do have coach friends who do coach bodybuilding, and they laugh at those comments. They're like, when someone's like, Blaha looks natural, they're laughing. They're like, you guys have no clue. They're like, he's like, you can not like his physique all you want, but no. So it's funny, but I should just write it out. I should just do that. What do you think, Carol? If people are that misled, I should just not even admit to a replacement dose. I should just be like, I'm natural. Jason, do you walk? I have no idea. Since I do more biking than I do walking right now, and my walking day-to-day varies, some days I don't walk. I only ride the bike. Like right now, because of the phone and the connection, on lifting days, I don't walk. I do my sled and then I go inside and bike because the phone won't maintain a connection out here to stream that time of day. So I don't know. I don't time check my distance. I go for time, and that time varies depending on how much cardio I do that day, but we mix it with bike. I count bike and walking interchangeably in terms of my list. Makes sense? Like I don't split them into 2 different numbers. It's just list cardio. So they just accumulate. I'll see if I can hit 4 hours of list this morning, no total, while streaming. I don't know if I'll do sled today. I've done sled the last several days in a row. But I might sled anyways, just to create the additional glycogen demands. Hey Carol, what do you think? Should I just say full natty from now on? It would just be simpler. Then people would get really angry. Like, dude, I'd get hate for that too. Hey, Tyson. I don't know anyone who's affected because I don't live there. All right. I appreciate the support, but this is one, fitness only. Two, you know that I don't live anywhere remotely close to that, right? Like, like not even, and so again, for context of Texas, that would be like um, there being flooding in Michigan and you picking someone, I don't know, different people in Illinois or Ohio and telling them, hey man, I hope you're safe from those floods in northern Michigan. Yeah. um, like I'm pretty far away from all that. Yeah. But they were pretty horrific. But I'm sorry, hey guys, I answered a non-fitness question. I am not a lying piece of shit. I apologize to my fans for being a liar and answering a non-fitness question. So I will try to do better in keeping my word. All right, full natty. Yeah, Carol, I think I just need to say I'm natural. Then watch people get angry. I should do it. I'm gonna just identify as natural. Now I'm just gonna be like, dude, I'm natural. I mean, it would be believable. Until people plug my height and weight and numbers in and go, yeah, dude, you're a liar. They go to a fat-free mass index calculator, they'd be like, you're a lying piece of shit. So, um, especially if I cut down to 190 and be shredded, it's going to be really, really hard to make that claim. Full natty promoting whole grains. There we go. What's going on, Peppermint? What do you think, Peppermint? Since all this stuff comes up, someone told me you look natural, so should I just claim natural from now on? I think I should. Guys can't seriously think Coach is natty. Because I don't look like I use trend and I'm not down at an ultra low body fat, I look natty. Hey Coach, just claim it. That's what I'm gonna do. I mean, I might as well. I think I'm just gonna claim natural from now on. I'm not gonna discuss TRT or anything. Let's just be natural. Natural lifters lifting natural weights naturally. I think I should. It'd be better for marketing. Be like, I'm natural, guys. We all natural. Some of these guys would be better if they didn't address it. Like a lot of them, they start doing it. They would be fine if they just left it alone. And then they start claiming natural when they're clearly not, they're clearly a little bit above low doses, you know. It's like, Maddie does fitness. It's like, dude, just stop. But the problem is because everyone asks. Like if people just didn't ask, I think a lot of that would end. People who are not deliberately marketing the fake natty. Lean muscular 210. Your height doesn't exist as natties. You're a fake natty coach. I'm not lean though, man. Everyone says I'm fat. You see the internet. Oh, there's a skunk. There's a skunk out here. I smell him. I should maybe not walk through this area. Let's turn around. I don't want to try to breathe that while I'm breathing heavy. Let's move away from the skunk. People don't know their stuff, never need to ask, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a mark of ignorance to even ask. Like, you shouldn't need to ask if somebody is natty. People are crazy. They just don't know any better. Keep in mind, there's a lot of kids and noobs who get involved in fitness. They just don't know. All YouTube natties, especially, grow a lot and shred the last couple of years, right? I'm good at just got done training. Awesome, man. Awesome, Peppermint. Glad you got your training did. Do you think many people who train at local gyms are on something? My opinion is irrelevant. What do you mean think? Have you not looked at surveys and statistics on this, Benjamin? Benjamin, do you live in the UK? I'm assuming maybe you do because of the time. So according to the UK government, when they researched this about 10 years ago or 15, what percentage of men who go to the gym in the UK use steroids? Approximately 30%. Oh. Yeah, their steroid use is ubiquitous in gyms. Why do some guys still think training heavy 6 days a week is doable? I've seen so much gains on 4 days per week. I get a full 48 hours to recover, and I still see promoting the 7 day. I don't know, because they always have to push harder and more. Yeah, it's ludicrous. Even the 6 day, the push-pull legs twice. It's like I just don't know what people plan on getting out of it. It's stuff I have to argue with clients about. Some of my clients insist they need that much, and it's like 2005 coach has definitely gone to since then. All those were just the guys who admitted it. Yeah. So, but there was an anonymous survey, and it was 30%. 30%. They went and did an anonymous survey of men who had gym memberships who work out, right? And they asked thousands, and it came back 30% admitted in those anonymous polls. 30%, that's 1 in 3. Yeah, people live on anonymous surveys. Yeah, people will lie to you, that's true. But, I mean, it sounds about right. I mean, there's a lot in the US, but I mean, I would say it was a little higher in the UK. Like random dudes. So that's a good topic. Like even when I went to, before I switched over to the other better gyms, there was a little small gym that was right next to the place I was renting. And it was like a 3-minute walk. There was a small gym I went to. Sometimes it was really cheap. It's like a whatever fitness for less or something. Like, and you'd be in there chatting with dudes. And there's dudes who, multiple guys I knew in there who barely looked like they lift, you know, a little bit of biceps, who basically were just chest and arm guys, who admitted they stayed oral steroids all the time and they went out drinking and partying and they didn't live a fitness lifestyle. And they were all on gear. Mostly orals too. It was all D-Bol, Anavar, Winstrol, right? They all drank alcohol, they all did oral steroids, you know, just your normal working class dudes. Here in the UK, we aren't even hardline on this stuff yet. Yeah, so, you know. I mean, I've met people who don't even work out who use steroids. Like I met a guy through an ex of mine, one of her friend's boyfriends, and the dude's showing me all his stuff, and I'm like, you don't even go to a gym? He's like, yeah, but I got some dumbbells. The guy had some adjustable dumbbells that went up to about 10 kilograms each. That's all he had. That's what he worked out with at home. And he was running a fairly moderate cycle. Like he was on like test deca and trend. And I think he was running like 800 milligrams a week total. He was on test deca and trend with nothing but a pair of adjustable dumbbells that went up to 20 or 25 pounds that he just did some isolation work and stuff with at home. You know, he was a decently lean dude, you know, about 160 pounds. Reality TV shows like The X on the Beach have influenced a lot of young men to take gear. Yeah, I can see that. I don't watch those shows. Maz just asked me if I ever taken steroids. No, man, we're natural, bro. See, I'm gonna do it. I'm natural. All these roid heads gonna have serious health problems in their 50s. They need to rock stars for their heart. Yeah. Easy come, easy goes. Yep. Well, it's the amount of abuse and then the lifestyles. Like people combining alcohol with anabolics, man, that is a recipe for disaster. Like that's really a big deal. I know people haven't looked at the data on that. They don't seem to understand how dramatically worse it is. You guys saw those studies, right? All those men on Anadrol in the US, there was a study done on men being prescribed Anadrol, right? They were all okay on 100 milligrams a day, which, 100 milligrams of Anadrol is no joke. And they were being given it for a specific prescription reason. Their blood, their liver enzymes all stayed normal if they were non-drinkers. All the men who admitted in the survey they drink 1 to 2 drinks per week, the blood work was night and day. Like they literally had dangerous levels of elevated liver enzymes by mixing 1 to 2 drinks a week with Anadrol. Yeah, that's the opposite of the guys thinking they can train just once a week and make gains. They can obsess over Dom's muscle soreness being an indicator that it's working. Oh my God. Whereas in the reality, 4 days works good, but honestly, I've gotten to a point where I've realized 4 really is the upper limit. As someone, I messed up for a little while again with the 5, the 6 day splits. I can honestly say the recovery is so much better on 3 to 4. So 4, I feel like it really is the upper threshold for optimization. And I think that really is the threshold. I've gotten to where I think 4 is fairly aggressive. And again, look at the physiques the guys had doing 3 day a week, right? I mean, even Leroy Colbert on here, so we can set aside all these famous greats. He was YouTubing for a while, being from the 50s, and that old man, he even admitted he trained 3 days a week back then. He was always like, we took off 48 hours between lifting weights. And he didn't have access to drugs, and the dude was still crazy jacked. Just saying, guys. Like, no one's ever struggled with 3 days. I mean, so, we can make these arguments for the 4, but I mean, I could still come back to the stuff I was saying 10 years ago. Do we have plenty of evidence that 3 days a week can still build absolute champions? Were guys winning Mr. Universes in the 50s before steroids training 3 days a week? As far as just the lifting, they all did cardio and running and other stuff, right? I mean, everyone from Steve Reeves to Reg Park to even like Leroy Colbert, 3 days a week. Even if we go into the later high drug era, I mean, even though Minzer went crazy later, Minzer placed second in the Olympia lifting 3 days a week. He jogged outside of that. He's like, he was a jogger. So he would go take light jogs, light runs and stuff, less cardio. But outside of that, he lifted 3 days a week. Just saying. Like 3 works really well. Also, 4 is like you're doing is fine. I mean, but I think 4 really is the upper threshold. Why did Mincer never win the Olympia? Proved against Arnold. I mean, there's a point where you have to admit Arnold's genetics and stuff. This is why I laugh at modern guys trying to clown on Arnold. Arnold was insanely genetically gifted. And it's not that Minzer wasn't impressive. It was who he was competing against is why he didn't win. No, Minzer looked great. Right? Nice. Do you think ethnicity plays a role in chance of getting heart issues from abusing anabolics? Man, I hate answering stuff like that because people will get mad and take it out of context, but I think obviously it does. I mean, let me ask you a simple question. Well, let's step back even from ethnicity. Let's step away from gear and talk about even diet. Does ethnicity play a role in which diseases you're going to be genetically prone to from bad diet? Yeah, it does. Absolutely does. You know? And I say that to some of my clients when we talk diet and nutrition, without going into obviously specific groups, because the people will be like, you can't talk about this at all. But people of a specific persuasion from a certain very bright continent with pigmentation, I'm like, dude, you need to stay away from saturated fat, bro. Straight up. Right? No, I'll just say it straight up. My African American clients, I'm like, dude, saturated fat, just stay the hell away from it. Just don't do it. Stop. You know, let's be realistic here. Certain groups handle it at a higher threshold than others, but that's a perfect example, right? So yeah, I mean, we know different ethnicities are going to be more prone to certain conditions based on diet and lifestyle. So I think it's fair to say they could be more prone for anabolics also, right? It's kind of hard for a guy who built all his image on 250 plus pound mass monsters to stop juicing because of heart or kidney. Yeah. I guess it depends on the volume too and how far you go into pushing. It's like going to failure 4 days a week works for me. Yeah, but these people will use Minzer's philosophies of training. Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, the once a week is just gets crazy. True, in certain groups recover from volume better. Yeah. I mean, obviously, when it comes to training, nutrition, different risk, there are going to be differences in gene flow. But even that's not ubiquitous, right? And I think people forget that. What they forget with those topics is not universal for ethnic groups, right? It's not universal. It's a tendency. Does that make sense? Because it's not universal. So, I mean, if you want to understand, I think lactose intolerance is a beautiful example of what we mean, of a genetic predisposition in ethnic groups. And that applies to sports, it applies to the whole, the fast twitch muscle fibers, everything else. It's only about prevalence of a gene in a group. It's not universal. Meaning, so you take the two groups with the most extreme tendencies towards lactose intolerance. It's still not universal. It's just the percentages are vastly different. So I'll break it down. So let's take lactose intolerance in America. Caucasian Americans have it at 12%. We're the lowest group, right? Like that's the low end. The other end of the extreme would be African Americans have it at 75%. Okay. So there's an enormous, that's a massive bias and tendency, but it's not universal. Like you can't look at that and create a universal law that applies to groups. You can't. Like that's ignorant. So you could look at that and say, hey, you see a white dude, there's only a 1 in 8 chance that he's lactose intolerant. But they still exist, but you can't say, oh, all white dudes can drink milk just fine. No, because 1 in 8 of them are going to be shitting, have diarrhea, you know? And so you can't you can't do the same thing with a black dude and go, all right, dudes, they can't handle milk. But 1 in 4 of them doesn't have lactose intolerance. There's still 1 in 4, it's just fine. See what I mean? So, and it's the same thing with all these other traits. It's just about gene flow. Probabilities. Agree with you, Jason. See my form. Thank you. Also seems to be less black on the people. No, there's lots of. What are you talking about? Maz, did you really just say there aren't many black Mr. Olympias? I hope you're kidding. Have you ever heard of Ronnie Coleman? He won it 8 times, or 7 or whatever. Lee Haney won it 8 times. Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia. What? I mean, there have been others too, but those are, no, not really. They're still disproportionately represented, percentage-wise. Yeah, Sergio Olivier. So you go further back. There have been a whole lot of contenders too. Serge Nubret took 2nd in the Olympia. So Sean Roden, yep. So are we really going to claim that black guys are not well represented in the Mr. Olympia? I hope that's a joke. You got to be joking me, dude. It's almost like a 50-50. Like if I were to go guess, it's probably 50-50. As you need to look into proportion of them over the total population. Yeah, Dexter Jackson, right? Yep. It's about half. So especially you take that most are Americans. Obviously, there's some exceptions. Most are Americans, but you're talking about they're definitely overrepresented. So, yeah, that's just a strange take. It's a very strange take to have. Like, you're definitely not looking at the statistics. Yeah. Why are we even on this topic, man? Now people are going to, get all mad at me. There's going to be videos made. Jason talked about ethnicity and bodybuilding. Let's cancel him. I don't know. People tried to cancel me for everything already. Who cares at this point? Sorry, Coach, so steer it away. But no, I mean, to be fair, I'm going to be honest. If anyone takes that conversation and makes anything racist out of it, they're just a clown. They're just a clown. Because there was nothing remotely in there. I mean, citing statistics on lactose intolerance isn't racism, is kind of important stuff for you to know, depending on which group you're in. It's kind of important to know if you can drink milk or not. Sorry, Coach, didn't intend. No, it's all good, man. It's just the only thing I would point out when it comes to those topics. Remember, even though I'm technically Slavic and we were not considered white in certain circles, that I'm still a fair-skinned dude. And, me even addressing certain topics is going to be taken out of context. It's just like, oh, you're not allowed to even address this topic. It's like, shut up. But with my clients, I have to, straight up. I have to know these differences, especially if we're discussing nutrition. I mean, because I had a client years back, very younger guy. He's based out of New Orleans, and he was trying to bulk, and he was only 20 years old, and he was trying to gain weight. He was lean all the time. I mean, when we say bulk, he needed to bulk because he was underweight and was 8% body fat, and we were struggling to put weight on him. And he started eating bacon cheeseburgers, and I'm like, we need to go over to peanut butter, dude. But he's like, well, I like the bacon cheeseburgers, and he went and got his blood work done. And they're like, you're 20 years old with elevated cholesterol. And I'm like, I told you. Chad says, why is it so dark? Well, so we live on a planet called Earth, and it's a sphere, okay? And it rotates in a circular manner around the sun. And there are going to be certain times of the day to where the sun is hidden on the other side of the planet. This is one of those times of day on the part of the sphere I live on. being in Texas. All right. Okay. What? We live in a crazy world. What are Slavics considered? I didn't think we want Coach to answer that one, but it might be one to look up. Okay, I'll have to Google it. No, I mean, that's why it gets annoying with certain stuff. Like when my family immigrated over here, like they were discriminated against because Eastern Europeans are not considered to be white in the early racist America. We were considered to be swarthy was the term. So my family dealt with that, and then I get people will now yell at me, "Oh, you can't do this or that, or you've got whatever privilege." And I'm like, but my family were discriminated against as Eastern European immigrants. What are you talking about? I don't know, man. Crazy world. Did you ever used to read Flex magazine? Everybody read Flex magazine. Bro, Flex magazine was a regular. Every grocery store had Flex magazine sitting right there on the shelf. Dude, there was a grocery store I used to go to have Flex magazine at the checkout line. You're trying to check out, and there's the Flex magazine was one of them sometimes in the little in stands where you're going to buy your groceries. Yeah, dude, I had tons of Flex. I used to buy it every month. I probably had 20 issues of Flex magazine. And it was always, this is their routine. They would always put their routine, and it was always a 5-day bro split. All right? Every single one of them. Because that was what the Weeder published. Yeah, let's not go on non-fitness stuff. So let's stay back onto me keeping my word of no non-fitness topics. So sorry, Jay, I'm just going to ignore your question. Yep. So yeah, definitely read Flex magazine. Everybody did, man. Everyone who lifted. But yeah, it was all 5-day splits and stuff, and then occasionally I train each muscle twice a week. It's very controversial, you know. Everything was chicken and rice with post-workout protein, you know. Like, that's why I laugh. It's like when you go read those magazines, if that was your source of information, it was all body part splits and bro diets, you know. Occasionally there'd be some discussions of adding healthy fats in maybe versus keeping really low fat and just doing chicken or really lean cuts of steak, right? Hey, Peppermint, for reference, what was the name of the video? I'd like to watch that one. Life in the UK. I heard a lot of mold in the UK. It's a very moldy place. It's a lot of mildew and mold. It's very damp. All right. There you go. There's a good description. How would you describe life in the UK? The UK was very damp. All right, next. Rufio. I've got an old copy of the Flex magazine at home. Used to belong to my uncle. Carlo Dunlap was on the cover. Hey, Rufio, go read through it, man. You're going to be like, man, body part splits and bro diets. Everything is chicken and rice, right? Occasionally you'd have a wild card doing lean steak and potatoes, you know. getting out there on the fringes a little bit. I've gotten it okay, you know. Yep. But it worked. They were always they're big supplement ads too, ultimately. They always included their supplement stack, and it was always, this is the way that we have to have post-workout. During comparing the two countries into Coach's search engine. There we go. Mars. Coach, have you ever gotten a shoulder injury? I've had shoulder impingement. What do you mean get back into training? You train. Well, you don't stop training because of injuries. I hope that's a joke. Bro, if you break your arm, you need to be in there training the other arm the next day. And you can still squat, okay? No, I still trained. I got shoulder impingement, I think largely from pull-up overuse and chin-up overuse. So I was doing 100 chins every day. I just kept training. I just avoided the stuff I couldn't do. The weather. Jason, great pointing on the new video. Natty bodybuilders smaller than athletes. Thank you, Carol. I mean, because ultimately, it's true. All these methods that they're promoting, they don't work. Like, there's no point to any of it, and I've realized that more and more. And look, I'm the first to say I've done plenty of videos discussing how we get to these different heads of the muscles, but is it enough to matter? Drop that like piece, viewers, if you haven't. Tell them, man. Thank you, Rufio. Let them know. Hit that like button. And I see the same stuff the more I look at it. I mean, I'll see a massive, crazy juice bodybuilder in my social media feed, right? I'll see the reels, and he's showing you his secret to the upper chest. And I'm like, dude, you're on 3 grams of gear plus growth and insulin. I'm looking at you. And the dude's like, the secret to my upper chest is this cable press that I do. Like a little incline, almost overhead press, cable press on the incline bench with the V handles. And that's his magic secret. You know, that's his magic secret to his upper chest. It's just, but the reality, you go really look at the natural, and I'm not talking about the Samian pandas and the other fake natties. You go look at the real feds that test hard and take those outliers out. You go look at a national stage, and you come back and tell me those guys are in any way bigger than just the dudes who do calisthenics in the park. Right? Hope you call out these roided up scammers on social media, Coach. So God of us, people peddle any old BS. And the problem is, then it's like, when you call it, it's, oh, you can't just claim steroids, it's hard work. But I'm like, is it? Because I know plenty of naturals who train harder than this guy, and they don't look like that. You know, but there's a point, and I think, how much cardio do you recommend daily? A minimum 20 minutes. But all these secrets these guys put out, you look at it and go, if you weren't using gear, your training, you would look like a dude you didn't even lift with the way you train, dude. Just goes to show how hard it is. It's natural to build an appreciable amount of muscle, yeah. I do elbow flare push-ups for the upper chest, even though a lot of people say it's not proper form. Well, so do you really think that that's ideal for your upper chest either? You have to do a lot of volume. Hey, thanks, Coach. Maybe a bit of cell tech. You know, dips and bench can build your upper chest too, by the way. And how long? I've been training 25 years. I'm 48 years old, dude. I've been lifting a little while. So, but I mean, seriously, look at these national level natural bodybuilders who are in the shows that do tons of testing, the feds that do, the ones who are there on nationals or state champions, and go look at the dudes who do calisthenics. And tell me the upper bodies are not the same. They're not any bigger, they're not any more jacked. None of them are really any bigger than Reg Parco's either. And yet they do all this stuff. All this, a lot of them are doing all these techniques and methods and isolating everything. And Reg Park had barbells, dumbbells. They're still not any more jacked than he was. They just make them get leaner, but they're definitely not bigger. Nothing's more developed. How many years did you complement your lifting with proper dieting? I mean, I did some dumb stuff with dieting that I thought was proper, you know. Keep in mind, I started on a weight loss journey. I lost 150 pounds before I started lifting, so nutrition was already important to me before I got into lifting. Highly likely coach knows things you don't know unless you have 25 years of experience, right? And don't get me wrong, guys, I program complicated programming for like my conjugate lifters and stuff who need it for sports purposes and other stuff. I mean, look at Ted's training, it's pretty complicated. But realistically, just to get jacked, it doesn't need to be complicated. We probably don't need to isolate anything. I'm at a point where I tell most guys, but I mean, we can make the point of, do we need it even for bodybuilding? Because a lot of those just calisthenics athletes, if they just built their legs up, could go win national level natural bodybuilding shows, you know? But generally, I've kind of reached a point where I don't think anyone needs to isolate more than one muscle, really. Whatever your weakest muscle is, sure, isolate it, you know? So for me, biceps, right? Biceps are my weakest muscle, so I do curls, you know? But otherwise, even for me, I'm like squat, bench, deadlift, pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, do my sled for leg work, maybe work my reverse hyper in if I want to make sure my low back needs it from time to time. There's a point where I just go, do we need any more than this? What if I only did those 6 exercises and I keep cutting down and just do conditioning work in GBP? Am I still not going to be jacked? You know, thoughts on chest building with shoulder issues, anterior deltoid, can bench with slight pain-free. Hey Jay, this is I can't do this in life. I'm going to need to coach you. And I'm not saying that just as a money grab. I cannot work you through this question or issue of dealing with shoulder inflammation and pathology in a live stream. This is literal coaching. This is not even consultation level question where we do a 1-hour call. This is a coaching level question where I literally need to work with you every week. I can't do that through here. Honestly, that sort of situation, the 1-hour call, then I charge $100 for those, wouldn't be enough. If you really need comprehensive help building your chest, and because this is a problem. If you're only able to bench pain-free with a slingshot, we got stuff we need to fix, because that is unacceptable. I can't, Rufio, you could drop him the link, or it's under every video. Go to my Facebook page and message me. Rufio, you could link it though. I don't know if it'll link in here though. You can isolate with calisthenics. There's a lot of technique. You can't really isolate with calisthenics. You can't do a single joint exercise with your body weight. Yeah, I know you can't. You've lost your mind. I don't think you can. Yeah, you might be able to link. So JM, Underneath every one of my videos, there's a link to my different links. Go to my Facebook page. Or you can go to Facebook and search Jason Blaha. Do not go to my profile or go to my spam folder. There's a big one where you can see my legs, and there's a check mark, and it has 245,000 followers with a blue check mark next to Jason Blaha. Message me there if you can't find the link. We need mods here. No, I can't trust people to mod stuff, honestly. Just how it is. No, we don't need mods. I got it under control. But yeah, I have everything set to stop links because basically if I didn't, people used to spam all the links and all my stuff every day. I got rid of that a long time ago. It would be 100 times a day. Yeah, we don't do mods. I don't trust the other people with my stuff. It was bad enough with my one ex. She used to get on my social media and answer people like she was me. And I'm, what are you doing? I'm helping you out. You're asleep. So I was answering their training questions. I'm like, that didn't go too well, by the way. Yeah. Would there be much difference in muscle growth between astrografts and parallel squats? How do you define much? Would there be any? Yeah, I mean, in theory, a deeper range of motion is going to produce more quad and glute potential. We can't say how much, but it would be something. Right? Well, I'm saying peppermint wouldn't be a good mod. I just don't trust people to mod my stuff. And we don't need it. Streams aren't that big. Of course, I say that, but I'm just doing heavy singles on squats now and just doing my sled. My legs will blow it from the sled. Hey, Benjamin, we can't put percentages on that. We would just be making it up, random numbers. If I were to guess that, it would just be a random number. You're not going to know the percentage, but it's going to be something. Yeah, speaking of the gear thing, I mean, the perfect example, I saw Ronnie Coleman talking to some massive bodybuilder with literal pro bodybuilder sized legs who said something like, I haven't trained legs in over a year. And it's like, this tells us everything we need to know about the drug doses bodybuilders use today. Dude hadn't trained his legs in over a year. And he had ridiculous legs bigger than anything from the Arnold era. Some Cali guys never trained legs. They're missing half the body. Mathematically, that's not even true, Tyrone. Dudes don't realize this. Do you think your legs are only half of the muscle in your body? They're actually more. It's like 65% or something like that. Yeah, you have more muscle in your lower body than your upper, dramatically more. It's not just a couple pounds. Thoughts on Big Remy's physique is fucking hideous. Big Ramy should never, and anyone looking close to that should never have even got pro cards in bodybuilding. They shouldn't be on a bodybuilding stage. No guy who's been on the Mr. Olympia stage in the last 15 years should have even been in bodybuilding. These are not good physiques. All right? None of them have good physiques. It's turned into a freak show. I'm not saying that to be a hater. I'm saying it because it doesn't look good, and it's a death cult. These guys are just killing themselves. Agreed, Big Remy. It's And it's not because they're on steroids. Like, guys looked good when they were only on steroids. I mean, objectively speaking, Arnold and Franco Columbu had good physiques, and they used plenty of steroids, not just the steroids. It's these entire cocktails of drugs and site enhancement. It's gotten so far out of control that it not only creates hideous monsters, they look like monsters, they're dying. They're literally dying for it. So no, I'm not going to support this. Many times I have more sore rear delts and forearms after deadlifts and isolation flow, right? Fair. But keep in mind, soreness is not always an indicator of stimulus, but I do see what you're saying. Of course, I came from a different generation. We had coaches back then who were saying stuff. Well, you go back to the more old school coaches, and they would say stuff like that. They'd be like, your rear delts and traps will grow from deadlifts, I mean, I get it though. There's certain stuff when we get in these conversations, it's, well, things aren't being put into lengthened positions. And I totally get the value of lengthened positions, but we also have to go, are they really required for muscle growth? And at a certain point, there's a lot of splash over stuff. Those big exercises go a long way. And I think what people forget, they make this bad habit of saying, but what about this power lifter who's using a lot of leverage, and assuming they're even raw, who are leveraging lifts is not the same, right? I'm not talking about a super low bar squat with an ultra wide stance that barely breaks depth, a real squat, a real conventional deadlift, flat back bench. Are we really going to claim even these movements are not going to stack tons of muscle all over the place? And are we going to pretend there's not splash over and adds to your training volume? Squat, bench, deadlift, pull-ups, dips. You get pretty dang big off just those movements. So you don't currently, I'm not even doing rows right now. It's just pull-ups and deadlifts from my back. Again, curls though are going to stay in. I feel like I have to have the bicep work, even though ironically my arms seem to be biggest when I wasn't even doing curls that much, but I digress. That's going to be the one I feel like I have to have. But I kind of jokingly said, for me, if I really only cared about marketing and not what I enjoy, I could literally just starve myself down, do tons of GPP and barbell curls and probably just stop lifting. And I'd have the physique it markets. I wouldn't be happy though without doing any lifting. Yeah, no, I don't do any. No, like right now, I mean, training is built around training maxes on the big three. It's heavy squat, bench, deadlift for 1 rep. Weighted dips, weighted pull-ups, barbell curls, conditioning work. Pretty much what I'm doing. Thoughts on Megzilla? Disgusting. All right, next. Thoughts on standing bent over barbell rows? I mean, I like barbell rows. I'm just not doing them. I don't need them. I feel like pull-ups and deadlifts are all I really need for my back. And I like the more athletic movements. But no, I think barbell rows are great. I mean, I've done plenty of them in the past. I prescribe them to plenty of my clients. But people will make that comment to me, well, what are you worried about the upper back? I'm like, but between deadlifts and pull-ups, am I not going to have an upper back? Is this a real concern? I get it when we say, okay, dips and pull-ups Might leave some weak links in the upper body, but I'm deadlifting, I'm benching, I'm curling. I mean, are we going to pretend a heavy barbell curl isn't work the upper back? Are we going to pretend it doesn't? I don't know. There's some pretty good EMG data showing how much it lights it up. Just saying. Yeah, the barbell row can be great. Yeah. Well, it's off the floor if you're going to do a pendlay type. Yeah. I think it can be good explosive movement. You know, I don't have the shoulder range of motion to do some of those things, or I'd love to throw in some cleans and snatches eventually. That could be fun, but I can't physically do them until I get the shoulder mobility to where I can. The barbell row. You know, I think we could make a case for that too. Squat, bench, deadlift, snatches, cleans, pull-ups, dips, jumps, throws. You could build whatever they need off that and actually be athletic to go with the jackitude. Because I think that's the point we have to remember, that it's not like these things don't build muscle. You know, so, but we get into that conversation with, again, a lot of these evidence-based guys who are like, but it's not optimized. Does it need to be? And are you sure? A lot of people get really jacked doing this stuff. A lot of times people are going super light on those isolation fluff. And as coach said, soreness is an indicator that your training is more efficient, right? Right. It's like I'm going hard. Like my barbell curls, even though I can't do a lot of weight because I'm pretty strict, they're still quite heavy for me. I'm not going light. Those are hard sets. You know, when I'm failing on like rep 8 or 9, literally hitting failure, and I'm straining on them, not really light. You know, so even my one isolation movement, is a barbell curl really an isolation movement? I don't think it is. That's like Blaha going to be next level. So we're pushing the sled. Eventually, like I said, I'll start working jumps and throws in eventually. Again, but you know, yeah. Yeah, 85. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I do 85 pounds on this, and that's it. But I mean, I'm failing on like rep 9, rep 8, doing them super strict. So, and I'm definitely working. They're hard. They hurt. Like, they hurt. No. Mainly because it's so hard. I'm worried about wearing the nylon feet off. I don't think people understand how coarse my street is. Like, I actually had someone come in and say, oh, that's no weight. I'm like, you do realize I'm pushing it on the nylon feet down asphalt. Like, I'm not pushing it on the grass. Yeah, I mean, if I was pushing that sled on grass or like turf, yeah, I'd put hundreds of pounds on it. But dudes, I'm pushing it down. Like, look at my street. This is the sort of street I'm pushing it down. Right, so you guys get a view of that asphalt. I'm pushing it on that, on the nylon feet. Like, those hard nylon. Like, it's hard. Let's be honest though, coach. You deadlift 600 pounds, so you aren't just any regular gym goer doing isolation work. I think context has to be true. True. Yeah, my neural drive is going to be way higher. So, true, you're right. I'm going to have a high neural drive. So for me, every one of those reps on that isolation, like, I'm putting maximum force into that. Like, so every one of those curls, like, I am actually contracting my bicep as hard as I possibly can. Like, I'm putting as much effort into those curls as I do a 600-pound deadlift right now. And they hurt like hell. Like, I'm not going to stand there and say, oh, yeah, I got a nice little pump. Yeah, that's not what they feel like. You know? When I'm putting the effort I'm into those, it feels like my biceps are tearing on the rep. Every eccentric rep, it feels like the muscle is being pulled apart, like right in the middle. Because I'm contracting them as hard as I possibly can. Oh, somebody's keys. Somebody done lost some keys. They're not mine. I think context has to be considered. You know what? I wonder, somebody dropped their keys. There's a fence post right here if they're out looking for them. Maybe I can hang them up where someone will see them. What do you guys think? Somebody lost some keys. I'm wondering, maybe I can hang them up here on this street sign. So whoever's missing their keys, maybe if they're out here looking, you know, man, I bet I lost my keys somewhere. I'm gonna try to hang them up on this thing. I don't know if the people are gonna see that either. That's not gonna stay. I need a bigger hook. Now I'm sitting here ruining my cardio trying to help somebody find their missing key. I just lost them in the grass. Oh, man. I'm just saying somebody's gonna need these. Hold on. Oh, I can stick it in like that. Let's try that. There we go. Maybe somebody will see that. All right. Sorry, guys, got distracted. And then to law enforcement. There's no law enforcement. Be part of a crime. Dude, there's no cops out here. I would have to call and wait 8 hours for them to show up to pick them up, or I'd have to drive to the police station. Like, I mean, we have the patrol guy, but he's not out here this early. You know, I put them up on a yellow thing though, so I put them up on the actual, like a street, the stop sign right there at the corner. So maybe whoever's, if they're out looking for them, they might see them. They'll be looking down into the ground. Well, it was out in the street. So I don't know. I mean, I did what I could, dude. What do you want me to do? I just have to leave them on the ground then, if that's the case. But back over to the point. Let's get back to fitness. If they know roughly where they lost them, maybe they'll see it up there. If you have one. Yo, Jay, what's up? How's the cut going? I mean, cut's going, I'm just not dropping weight. So I told you guys at the start, I woke up ravaged. I'm going to have to fill up on more potatoes. I got up and binged at 7. I woke up starving and I mixed raw eggs with Greek yogurt. And because I just needed something in my stomach. At least I don't have any junk food around. This is why when you have a history of obesity and binge, you cannot have junk food in your house. But yeah, I literally ate raw eggs and fat-free Greek yogurt. And it's like, damn, I probably pushed my calories higher than I wanted. So it's like, let's get up real early and do cardio. But I'll focus on being better with that today. Like I had a perfect food day. And then bam. So that's the hard part for me, guys. Eating 3,000 calories is so hard. Like, I don't see how you guys only eat 3,000 calories. Like, it blows my mind. You know? So, yeah. But I think keeping the vegetables super high, working some more potatoes in with it. But it was just weird. I was like really hungry and I was totally full. Like my food volume was really high. So I was kind of surprised. It happens though. What are you going to do? All right. But I'm like, let's be out here at 4:15 in the morning, pounding that pavement. That's how we make up for it. But damage might not be too high. It was raw eggs and Greek yogurt. This is a lot of protein. Yeah. Kind of falls back to what I tell clients with binge issues. Keep lots of Greek yogurt, chicken breast in your fridge. Basic boxing drills, heavy bag, are fun for Cody, right? Looking forward to you pushing through, Jay, and hitting your weight loss. I mean, I'm getting leaner anyway, we break it down. And I still think the 190 is a good goal. I do have people, other lifters are telling me they think 190 is too light, but I know that it's not. I've literally had guys say, you're too big, it's not gonna work. Like how I look at 210, I think I can get there, and I think I can keep my muscle. So it just might be a slower process than I might have anticipated. You know, the main thing is the diet adherence is hard. It's mainly just the calories, right? I have no trouble eating super clean. You know, it's the cutoff of the feed window. So, and that was an issue, and it's something like what happened yesterday. It's no longer thinking because I just woke up. Like I was asleep for 30 minutes and I woke up ravenous, you know. And by the time I realized what I was doing, I had already eaten half a tub of fat-free Greek yogurt with 4 raw eggs mixed in it and some cinnamon, you know. But bust them open, mix it up. But again, I don't think that's the worst binge considering the amount of fasted cardio I did. I'll be okay. Like it's literally, we're calling it a binge, literally eggs and Greek yogurt. That's a binge. I guess if I'm worried about that and calling that a binge, I'm in a pretty good place. I don't know my average weekly calorie deficit. Since the scale's not moving and it's because I'm holding water because I upped my salts and all that stuff way up again, I have no idea. It's got to be something. There's no way I'm doing this much fasted cardio and eating below my old maintenance calories and not in deficit. Like I'm eating less calories than my maintenance was without the cardio. So how tall are you? I'm 5'9". So in internet stats, that's 6 foot. But yeah, 5'9". So that would mean in a dating app, it would be 6 foot, right? If I were to do one of those, all right. That's such a weird thing, by the way. When I started having trolls call me short, I never understood that. I didn't get it at all. I've never been accused of that in my life. So weird. Like everyone thinks I'm like 5'11" in person, and I'm not. So how often do you break? I generally don't. If anything, lately I've been 15 minutes because it's like I'll get around noon, like, okay, time to get ready. I'm like, oh, I haven't cooked any eggs yet. The Instapot's done. But I got to cook these eggs. I got to dice these vegetables up. I got to take a picture before I eat it, you know. So if anything, it starts a little late lately. I've been really good on that. You know, keep in mind, I go to bed really early, so a noon start or later is actually relatively late. So context, I mean, I started my cardio at 4:15 this morning. I'm not going to eat for 8 hours after starting my cardio. Mind you, I've already done work and had a cup of coffee before the cardio. I turned my coffee pot on at 3 a.m. So 184, 195 going to be perfect. Yeah, I think 190 would be pretty crazy if I can get there. When we get there. Back, it's easy. I don't know why I'm even saying stupid stuff like it's hard to hit the calories. What's that BS? Keep putting in the work. Hitting the calories is really easy. Cutting my food off at the end of the feed window is really easy. In fact, it's going to be the easiest thing I've ever done. Moving forward, minimal effort, really. Like it's actually as easy as brushing your teeth. Like deadlifting 600 pounds is as easy as brushing your teeth too. I don't know why people think it's hard. All right. It's just laziness, honestly. Laziness is so easy. This is how I coach, by the way. It's how I coach my lifters. You convince yourself it's easy. It's like I have amazing bicep genetics. Right, I have to start saying that. I've got to quit this other stuff too. Again, as a coach, I know better. I got to quit saying stuff like, well, I don't have good bicep insert. No. I need to go the other way. Nope. Super easy. I got great bicep genetics. In fact, my biceps are going to be 19 inches one day. Yeah. See how that works, guys? So then, of course, haters will say, oh, you're delusional. And I'm like, yes, you need to be delusional. You need to be. It's only a matter of time. It really is, Carol. It's a matter of just consistent putting in the work. It is going to happen eventually. So we have to focus on the process. So I have to do the same thing with the food. Focus on the process and plan and say, okay, what do we need to do to make that happen? Yeah. You know. So yeah, but we also can't beat ourselves up over that. You know, I can't stand here and get mad at myself and go, man, I finished all my food and woke up and ate raw eggs and Greek yogurt mixed together. But I can't get upset about it. Be like, it's in the past. It's not like I ate a bunch of junk either, super calorie dense. It was protein. You know, nobody's getting fat from getting up and eating some protein at 7 o'clock after they should have been done eating. But we get out, we do the fasted cardio. Kind of go, just make sure we do an extra 30 minutes somewhere today and move on. You know. But I think with a lot of that, I think what's happening, again, let's be objective. I'm ramping up the calorie burn. My energy input is going out, so my body's trying to get hungry because it's like you're losing body fat. We got to stop doing this. So that's a lot of what happens. Especially, I think, since I've upped all my salts and the training is going up, my body is getting very anabolic again. Great training response, probably a higher metabolic output. So then my appetite hormones are definitely going to kick in more and more as my brain says, no, we're losing body fat. We're burning too much energy. You know, it will try to shut you down. So again, just dietary strategies to work around it. I should have more of my water mixed up, so next time something like that happens, I need to have a strategy in place. Like my mixed up water jug was almost empty. I hadn't redone it. It should have been full. So then if I wake up feeling hunger after I've been asleep for 30 minutes, chug water. Chug my electrolyte water. All right? So again, about strategies. God, it stinks out here. It smells like a rotten egg. That wasn't like this earlier on this street. I don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. There's something stinking. So first there was a skunk over by the park. Now it smells like rotten egg. I'll bet you it's that landscape truck. He must have some mulch or something on there. He's driving down the street. If the dead animal's rotting, why didn't I smell it for the past hour and a half walking up and down the street? I've been up this section 5 times. This smell was not here earlier. Because what's on your thoughts for dips causing shoulder issues? You're doing them wrong. Dips done correctly should improve shoulder health. So quit ego lifting. If your shoulders are hurting on dips, you're ego lifting on your dips. Reduce the weight, control the eccentrics, go all the way down. Lean forward at the bottom. So it's possibly, or you need to adjust your grip also. Something's also wrong with the grip. But you need to lean forward more. You need to control at the bottom. You need to control the eccentric better. You need the longer range of motion to reduce the weight. You know, I mean, I do dips. Go to my shorts. Go to my shorts feed, and I did dips on Friday, and I have a little demonstration of me doing the dips, an actual hard work set to failure. So you notice I start with forward lean. I start out of the bottom. I don't lower myself into it. I start out of from a dead bottom position. I walk over and reach up so that I have to do the first rep from a full stretch. So I pretty much do a deadlift dip. So the first rep, if out of the bottom, if you can't do that, it's too heavy. So if you can't do the first rep on your dip from a dead stretch in the bottom from the floor, like reach up and do it, it's too heavy. That start position will tell you where you need to be. Because if you don't get into a shoulder-friendly position, you're not going to get out of the bottom. You're just going to stay there. So again, I start in the deepest range of motion at the beginning of the rep, because that's where I literally walk over and set the bars at. So you should be able to pause at the bottom and then come up. And I mean, I do that for work sets with a 55-pound plate, and I weigh over 200 pounds. So, you know, dips hurt me too much, but I wish I could do them. I mean, they used to bother me sometimes, but I've learned how to do them. Learn how to do them correctly. Man, my quad is getting slightly sore. It's not really a cramp, it's just like a soreness. All of a sudden on this walk. All that sled work hits me on these walks sometimes. Good morning, sir. I am a novice on the first bulk. I was training 37. You don't ask me to do math. I'm fasted on the walk. I have plenty of drive and spare time. I would have to hear your thoughts on I don't know what any of that means. You're training 6 days a week? Get out of here with that. I lift 3 days a week right now, dude. What are you talking about? You're training 6 days a week, you better be on at least 2 grams of steroids a week. You're lifting 6 days a week. I bench from a dead stop pretty much, Carol. Hey, Dukas, I have coaching slots open. I also do consultations to write programs. So if you need me to help you with a program, my calls are $100 an hour, but I will map out a full program for you. But thoughts on, we just had this whole conversation in the first hour, didn't we, guys, the regulars in here? Explain why 4 days a week is probably the absolute most, and that's extreme. Most dudes could do really well on 3 days. You know, like if you're not trying to go pro in bodybuilding or break world records in powerlifting, 3 days is fine. Dudes do that. Dudes have broken powerlifting records on 3 days. They're a little rarer than 4 days at the world level. But if you just want to be the most jacked guy walking down the street or at the party, you can do that on 3 days a week. 6 days is stupid. For most people, there's no point. You're not going to gain any extra muscle. If anything, you're just going to burn out and higher injuries. You want more work past that, go do cardio. Do some athletic stuff, do conditioning. You don't need to be lifting weights 6 days a week. It's not going to help you make more gains. I mean, I'm doing 3 days and you just watched me as an almost 50-year-old man pause bench 350 flat back. Just pulled 550, all this stuff this week as an old man. Come on, dude. 3 days is fine. Although I do my sled more than 3. You ever experiment with Anderson squats? No, I don't like them. I just don't like them. You know, we're kind of like the same reason I dislike holding onto the handles on the belt squat for a while, even though you need to get deep. I just don't like the idea of assisting out of the bottom. You're holding onto a, it's like, no, I'm just not a fan. If the Anderson squat is what I'm thinking of, I'm kind of lightheaded right now. We're pretty far into this fasted walk, where you take a safety squat bar and you hold the uprights. Why don't we just back squat, guys? Like, I see stuff like this and I get where people are, I get it. He was a famous dude and he was really strong, but you know, you could also just squat. Just saying. For most people, they don't need anything special. I mean, for certain situations, for fisting stuff, for elite lifters and things, yes, there are certain supplemental squats, but honestly, the average guy could just either box squat or back squat. Just pick one and run with it. Okay, it's an Anderson squat. I'm in squat starting from bottom. Oh, off the pins. I've done it for maxes before. It's just harder to set up. The dip is easy to start from the bottom. It's easy to just set up and do it that way. Right? It's more effort into getting under a bar from a dead pin squat. You know? I guess with a safety bar, it's not as hard to get under there. But, you know. I mean, yeah, you're right. It'll build dead stop strength, but we can also get that from our deadlifts, you know, or we could do more pause squats. It's just the difficulty of setting up, whereas with the dip, with a lift like the dip, where people tend to really short stroke that, you know, I like just starting from that bottom position because it keeps it honest. It keeps you with a weight that you're not going to be able to ego lift. And I think that's the main thing, you know. So the reason I suggested that on the dip is it stops you from ego lifting, because you're not going to, any weight that you're going to ego lift for a set of 5 or 6 or 8 or 10, there's no way you're getting it out of that bottom position. You can't do it, right? It fixes the problem. Pause squats and regular for 2. So mainly what I like with it is that it fixes that. It's going to take your injury risk way down because you can't. It forces you to pick a weight that you can actually legitimately handle. Because if it's a weight you can hit out of that dead position on the dip, you can't ego lift it. So it removes the problem. Guys will do anything to just avoid squatting under heavy, right? No, I mean, dead position squats like he's talking about, they are brutal. They're actually hard. But at that point, I don't know if we're really getting anything out of it. And then it's like, I'm like, man, then I'm also risking dropping it back on the pins hard after, because you tend to fail sometimes. And I'm beating my equipment up. Like, my equipment's expensive, man. Like, I have really good bars and a good rack, and it's just trying not to beat my stuff up. Especially my bars. Like, I get it, they're competition bars, they can take abuse, but I'm really not trying to beat my bars against pins. But I think that's a big issue when it comes to pin training. I think about it, someone with a home gym. I'm like, dude, I buy my stuff myself. Like, this is my property. I own this. I paid for it with my own hard-earned money. You know, so when we start talking doing pin work with my bars that I've paid for myself and worked for and bought, it's kind of like, yeah, fuck you, you know. So that's something that I factor in with a lot of that when people ask me those questions. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do a bunch of pen work with the bars that I paid for with my own money. Notice that difference between that and people willing to do this stuff at a gym with other people's stuff. But when it's your barbells, you start thinking of stuff like, do I really want to beat my bars against pins? These are expensive. These are really nice bars. Like I had to work and make my money to buy these bars, you know. They're mine. People love to abuse other people's stuff. You know. All right, so that's kind of my view on pin work. What do you think of front squats? They're okay if you can do them. For most people though, so I always just think it's curious why so many people push them all the time as a main. It's like, I get the point as a secondary once your legs are more fatigued. But let's be realistic, your rack position is gonna be most people's limit. So what are you really trying to get out of them? I bring that up, and I program front squats, by the way, for some clients. And I used to do them when I could, and my shoulder range of motion allowed for it. Something I'm trying to fix again. I'll never use them as a primary. I don't see why anyone does. Your rack position is going to be your limit. And people say, you can just cross arm. Man, I can't cross arm a front squat to save my soul. I've never been able to. That's the hardest version. Like, for me, I've never been able to do the cross arm. But, you know, you tend to be limited by that rack position. So what are we really doing with it most of the time? And I'm not saying it's not a good exercise. Like I said, I program it as a secondary movement for reps and stuff for some of my people. I never use them as a primary. Now, I get it if you're going to be an Olympic lifter, the need for them from sport-specific training. But most of you are not doing weightlifting. You know, I get it. You're trying to build an elite full clean. You're going to have to do some front squats. Totally get it. But don't come in and front squat 225 and then tell me that that's going to make you a good weightlifter. You better be front squatting some real weight. All right? Don't tell me you're trying to build a 405 clean and then you front squat 225. You know what I'm saying? You're wasting your time. Complete waste of time. Just stop. You need to be able to front squat what you clean or more, whatever your clean goal is. All right. So kind of my answer to that. Sport specific. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like front squats. I think it's strange when people try to act like they're a replacement for the back squat. They're absolutely not. Tons of even elite weightlifters, the best in the world, still back squat. Even though they might front squat as sport specific. They still build their strength on the back squat. Just comes back over to, I think everyone should probably back squat. A normal straight up back squat is something most people should be doing, at least as a primary exercise in your training. Right? Since you asked my opinion. Awesome. Man, this walk has been 2 hours. I think it's time to head home. Put this phone on the charger. It's also bright enough. I have plenty of light to do bike if I want. as much as I want. All right, so I'm gonna start walking back towards the house. At this moment, yes, you prefer high bar over low bar. I don't necessarily prefer it. It's a little easier to get into the position on my shoulders, you know. I feel that for me, it's a little more athletic. So, I mean, I'm pretty much, it's kind of funny. Like, I get different people, they look at my squat. Like one of my guys who was doing he's a younger guy, and I'm letting him pick a squat for him. And then I'm like, well, you could mess with low bar if you don't like it. So my shoulders don't allow for it. It's like, that's fine. And he sees my squat and he's like, wow, that's a really wide stance. And I'm like, that's not a wide stance. Like, I thought it was funny. He thought it was really wide. But I mean, I'm pretty much doing a high bar right now. And I have what I think of as a kind of a medium stance. It's not a close. Because you guys have seen me squat really wide before. So I'm pretty much doing, I guess, a high bar right now, really. I feel like it would be. People will debate it. What do you think, Carol, the squat I did this week, the 455 I think that was a high bar. That 500 I did earlier in the year was low bar, though. I don't know, see while we're cutting if we can build back to a 500 high bar, you know. I say stuff like that like it's casual. People who are normal, people not in the crazy elite strength world will be like, yeah, coach, that's kind of crazy. I know dudes who are so delusional with their strength. That's why it's funny. Like even on my Facebook, there's a guy who comes in, my other guys like Doug argue with him. He's like, wow, this guy's ridiculous. He needs psychiatric help. Like Doug will say that. It's like, dude's like 500 squats really baseline for a high schooler. Like this dude straight up type stuff like that. And I get it. He's a strong fat guy. He's like over 300 pounds and he's strong. But he says stuff like that. Like average high schooler should be able to squat 500 in the weight room. He's like, that's baseline teenage strength. He says stuff like, he's like a 350 bench is basically should be the average high school football player. Should be just the average in the gym. I coach teenagers who bench 405. He does stuff like that. You know, looks legit. So I would still describe that as a high bar, but I don't know. What do you think, Carol, what I was doing? But, you know, we get people like that in the strength world. So that's what I deal with on the other extreme. It's like, I get people who think my dad bod strength standards and stuff are insane, right? They're like, that's crazy. It's unrealistic. And then a lot of the really fat powerlifters I know, those coaches see it and they're like, why are you putting that bar so low? Like, why are you promoting mediocrity? And they're serious. Like they're dead serious when they say it. They're like, what do you mean 315, 405? They're like, the average middle-aged guy, casual gym goer should be able to squat at least 500, 550. And they'll say it all dead serious. Like that should be like the average. And they really say stuff like that. They're like, if they're not on TRT. If they're on TRT, it needs to be 600, you know. You get these delusional comments from powerlifters. Other powerlifters I know. Keep in mind, these are the really heavyweight guys. These aren't 200-pound guys. But they don't see why a guy would be 200 pounds. They're like, a real man's at least 275, you know. Like it's ridiculous. So I deal with that extreme also. So people, it's so funny. I have to deal with both sides all the time. People are like, your strength standards are unrealistic. And then that extreme tells me, wow, your strength standards are so low that you're promoting mediocrity. Like this is the most pussy thing I've ever seen. Like they really say that. Yeah, 500 high bar. So, I mean, I did a 455 this week, okay. I'll see if I can get back to 5 plates. You know, just got to be casual about it. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing, right? Ain't nothing to do but do it, like Ronnie Coleman said. I think it's doable. Why not? See if we can get back to a 500 high bar while we get leaner and cut. There we go. We walk around 185 with a 500 high bar at 50 years old. I think that would be a worthy goal. If it was somebody besides me, people think I was joking or it wouldn't happen. But it's like Blaha will probably do it. Yeah, buddy. I did 315 for 10 on the deadlift, 405 for 1. You reckon? Try to get it? Maybe, probably. I would think so. Problem is, if you haven't done any singles, though, you may not have it neural drive in. You have the muscle for it, right? Definitely have the muscle for it. All right, guys. I'm almost home. This has been over a 2-hour walk. I'm gonna get a shower, get more coffee, get a couple things done, and then I'll get some bikes in. We'll get a little bit of bike in. I'd like to get to 405 for 8 or 10. That would be great. That's pretty significant. Justin did 405 for 7. I need to put it up. I got a couple of his reels ready to go. All right, guys. I love you guys. I'll catch you next time, though. We'll do some bikes coming up.